Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Kelvin and I'll be the moderator for this session, and I think we are just about 5 minutes running late because one of the other sessions just ran a little bit late. So last chance to go to the toilet or things like that, or grab a drink before we get started, all right? Thank you very much. Pirry, do you have a presentation here? Is it loaded on this one?
No, it's on this one, which is that one. This is the backup for my notes.
Okay. Okay. Change. Who do you want to go first?
Me.
Okay. Okay. You want to go first? Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that's the backups, but I think that's fine now.
No, I did my notes as usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold that. And then Pirry, oh god, Pirry's slides are here on this one? Okay. So you guys are okay. Probably should wait for Pirry to come back. To go? You sure you don't want to be the moderator today like you were yesterday? Okay. I'll do it, don't worry. All right, so welcome everyone. How is everybody feeling today after lunch? Nobody sleeping yet? Okay, it is my extreme pleasure to start this next session, which is Changemaking on the Front Lines. What we're going to be talking to you about today, and hopefully it won't be a talking to, it will be a conversation, is with Shahara and Pirry, who are two entrepreneurs here in Hong Kong starting their social ventures. And we're going to hear about what they do and some of the challenges, some of the ups and downs. And I think what I wanted to get out of this session is just a very real view of the journey of starting up a social enterprise here in Hong Kong, because we hear about really big ideas of shared value and B Corps and all those things, but really, if you want to start, what's that going to be like? I am your moderator for today. My name is Kelvin Cheung. I am the CEO of a small foundation called UnLtd Hong Kong. So we give grants of up to 50,000 Hong Kong to those first stage entrepreneurs to help them start up and scale up. And then also I am the Chief Operating Officer at the Woodlab, which, how many of you have been to the Woodlab? All right, great. So I take care of that place to make sure the air conditioning is working and what happens when there is a flood in the toilet. So no, I also run the workshops there as well. So that's what I do. And then before, I had experience in the United Kingdom, in London, running a small social enterprise there called Food Cycle, where we took surplus food from supermarkets, brought it to a local kitchen, and cooked it for people in need. That's still running right now. I have no involvement with it, but I think it's like in 25 cities over there right now. So it's still alive after I left, which is great. But it's not this session is not about me. It's about these two lovely people over here. So first we have GrowingSmart. They're going to give a presentation on what they have been doing here for the last maybe year, 1 year, 1 year. So please give it up to GrowingSmart. You've got 7 minutes.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shahara, and I'm here representing GrowingSmart, but there's actually 3 of us who belong to GrowingSmart. And today, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. And I actually can't see you with my glasses on, but I need... Okay. But first, before I start, I'd actually like to know a little bit about you. And I'm going to do that by starting with a quiz. Okay? So this is the first question that I have for you. How many honeybees are needed to produce 1 teaspoon of honey? Is it A, 1, B, 12, C, 24, or D, 36? Okay, what do you think? Can you please tell the person next to you what you think the correct answer is? Okay, go ahead. Okay, and the correct answer is B12. Okay, did anybody get that right? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, a few. I'm very impressed. Excellent. Okay, so the second question is, how long does it take for a rack of bananas to grow from flower to fruit? So A, 1 month, B, 3 months, C, 6 months, or D, 1 year. So once again, please tell the person next to you so you're not cheating. Okay. And the correct answer is C, 6 months. Okay. Maybe a few more got that right. Can I see a show of hands? Okay, a little bit more that time. Excellent. Okay, well done. So my question is, why don't we know these things? Like, why didn't everybody get those questions right? And the main reason is many of us are, we live very urban lives, and we've lost connection with nature and the natural world. And these are all kind of little things. How long does it take for a banana to grow? How many honeybees? All of these things we feel at GrowingSmart is just things that everybody should know. But as you can see from this picture, we're all busy paying our bills, paying our food bills, worrying about everyday life, and we don't have time to think about the more fundamental things in life. But the problem is, when we stop forgetting about the more fundamental things in life, we forget about the pressure that we're actually putting on the environment. And so we forget about things like there's only 10 days of every year in Hong Kong that the air quality is actually acceptable by WHO standards. We're sending 3,200 tons of food waste to landfill every day. The pink algae blooms, which have become a regular occurrence, almost an annual thing, which is due to raw sewage being pumped into the natural environment. Okay, so that's actually why GrowingSmart was born. I mean, our aim is to reconnect as many people as we can back to nature and the natural environment. And we do that using permaculture. Not many people know what permaculture is, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a brief introduction. So permaculture is based on 3 ethics, which is earth care, people care, and fair share. What does it mean? It just means that we look at everything a little bit more holistically. So we look at the impact of all of our actions, not just for ourselves, but also for our families, for the wider community, and then for the planet as well. So everything matters, the whole picture matters, not just the bit that's convenient for us. Okay, so that's what permaculture is basically about, looking at the whole picture. Okay, so what do? We run kids camps. That's one of the things we do for groups of school children, and we bring them to a farm. We have 2 farms, one on Peng Chau Island and one also on Chang Chau Island. Sorry, I'm just trying to synchronize notes here. When children come to visit us, we let them explore the farm, we let them experience that. For many children, they've never even touched soil, they've definitely never planted anything, and so they're getting a chance to do all of these things. But just as importantly, we want them to start thinking about how they would actually design a farm, because this really demonstrates really well what we want, the message that we want to get across. So I actually want to test that a little bit with you as well. So if I asked you to plant some corn, some beans, and some pumpkin, how would you do it? And the chances are you would do it like this, like find a field, plant some rows of corn, rows of beans, and rows of pumpkin. Okay, but something you possibly have never thought about is that this is a very unnatural thing. Like making a piece of land grow a single crop and just grow that crop and remove insects and other plants and the whole ecology is actually extremely unnatural. And the only way you're going to get this to happen is by using a lot of force. And that's what we do in industrialized farming. We use chemical force. So we use pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, all of those things. And that may give us a short-term gain, but over the long term is actually very destructive, not just for the land, but also the ecology around it, and also for our health. So in permaculture, what we would potentially, one alternative, and I'd like you to present this alternative, is use something called companion planting. So this is the Three Sisters configuration, and it's ancient, and it actually comes from Native American Indians, and the early European settlers would never have survived without this. So you plant the corn first, then you plant the beans, and the corn provides a vertical structure for the beans to grow. And not only that, the beans then stabilize the corn. Also, beans do something called nitrogen fixing. So they provide nitrogen for themselves and any other plants around them. So immediately, you no longer need nitrogen fertilizers. And then a little bit later, you would plant the pumpkin. And that's at the bottom there. And what the pumpkin does is it's what's called a live mulch. It holds the moisture in the soil. It prevents, because it's quite spiny, it prevents insects from getting to the corn and the beans. And so the 3 plants together support each other, and also the pumpkin prevents the growth of weeds, support each other, and also prevents the need for all of those things I just mentioned, fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. And then the actual crop themselves, at the end of the season, usually what you can do is just take all the extra organic material and put it back into the soil. And once again, you don't need anything artificial added to this system. And it increases the fertility of the soil every year on that you do it. And this is just a very, very simple idea, and you've immediately solved a huge range of problems that we didn't, that we are using artificial methods to solve today. So another thing we do is we take adult groups too. We don't just take children. We do both corporate days and we do volunteer days. And we teach all of the skills that we know ourselves. So we want to pass on everything that we know. And we're very passionate about permaculture. So we're very into natural building, natural farming, and self-reliance, which are, until you start to do it, you don't realize how fundamental that is to your own well-being, both mentally, spiritually, physical. Like, it's until people start to realize how unself-reliant they've become, when they start to become self-reliant again, it becomes a very, very powerful experience, and that's what we found amongst ourselves as well. So one of our ongoing and really great projects right now is rebuilding our covered area using bamboo, and this has had so many wonderful coincidences that we just feel like everything is fate right now. We were looking for bamboo, we were looking to buy bamboo. We found a local neighbor who just said, use my bamboo for free. And so we're actually just cutting down the bamboo from his garden, doing him a favor because he doesn't want to cut it down because it's actually a really hard job. So he's actually really happy that we're coming and we're taking his bamboo. And we have we've been running a workshop every Saturday and inviting groups of volunteers to come and help us. And we've been passing on the skills that we're learning. And we've learned our skills from a guy called Vince Math, who just happened to be in Hong Kong for the same time that we started this project. He's one of the very few bamboo experts in the whole world, and he's been coming and volunteering his time and teaching us how to choose the bamboo, cut it, treat it, work it, all of those things. So we've been inviting volunteers to also share in that experience of working with Vince. So this is some of our volunteers helping to cut it down. It's a really, really fun, interesting project, and if anybody would like to come, you're very welcome. And this is Khan, and so she's an example of why we're doing this. So she was one of our volunteers coming regularly every week, and she has a piece of land, and she's now decided that she wants to build her own bamboo structure. So we've given her the confidence to go and cut down her own bamboo and start building her own bamboo structure. And not only that, but she's also ended up helping us on working on some of our school programs. So there's a little bit of a cycle now going on, which is in a very short space of time. So that's really fantastic for us to see. So we do lots of different types of workshops as well. This is a kimchi fermentation workshop. So it's all about kind of just moving away from all the convenience, which is convenient, but actually not really very good for us, and remembering again how to do things that are actually good for us. And fermentation and making kimchi, spending time to do that with your friends, building community, that's also part of what we want to do. So we are based on, our main farm is based on, or our new farm is based on Peng Chau Island, which is just 30 minutes from Hong Kong. As I said, we absolutely love having volunteers and we love sharing what we do. So if you would like to come, please just go onto the website or send me an email and I'll let you know when the next thing is going on. Yeah, and that's us again. So that's the aerial view. And it's a very beautiful spot surrounded by nature, the sea, and it's just a really nice day out of the city, and it's the start of the process of reconnecting with nature. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So from a farm on Pengzhou to cats. So Pirry, you're going to talk to us about cats. Maybe you can let them guess how many cats are in Hong Kong.
It's actually about cat litter. I don't know if anyone knows what cat litter is. 貓砂 is for a cat as a cat toilet. Yes. So my name is Pirry, and I am a co-founder of Woodlab Innovation, and this is my partner Max. Would you like to stand up, Max? Okay, so thank you. So we start this journey January this year, and our company Woodlab Innovation is about making upcycling products in industrial scale, and we use locally reclaimed waste material to make cat litter. Our goal is not only to divert waste from landfill, but we also want to change people's concept of waste, because in Hong Kong is a very efficient city and people just like to pay someone to dump your waste into landfill. But we found that there's a lot of potential with the waste in Hong Kong. So this is the background of our problem. 1/3 our municipal waste are actually food waste. That's approximately 3,200 tons a day. And 3,200 tons means 120 double-decker buses going into a landfill of Hong Kong every single day. It's just taking away our very precious land resources. And not only that, it also creates a lot of methane, which is 21 times stronger greenhouse gas compared to the more famous carbon dioxide. And this is a picture of our landfill in Hong Kong. In 2018, some people say it's actually longer, maybe 2019 or 20, all 3 of our landfill will be exhausted. And I think it's very urgent for us to take an action to it. So we start with one waste at a time, because when all the waste mixes together, it takes a lot of energy and labor, and it's very costly to sort them out. This is, I guess everyone knows this, is tofu. But not many people know that there's actually a lot of byproduct generated when we make soybean products. So this is soya pulp, 豆腐渣. Maybe I should ask a question as well. So do you know how many 豆腐渣 soya pulp or okara regenerated daily in Hong Kong? Just in Hong Kong. Anybody have a guess? Have a guess? I mean,
40 tons.
Very good guess. Thank you, Kelvin. It's actually 70 tons. 70 tons of soya pulp are generated every day due to tofu or soy milk manufacturing in Hong Kong. I can give you some Vita soil, 維他奶. They generated approximately 12 tons a day. Just one company. So HKOWRC is our key partner. We are very grateful that they have been giving us free rent and machinery support for our project. They also our key partner is that because they had this idea using soya pulp to make cat litter 2 years ago, but they failed. So we can build on their experience and improve our product. So this is a picture of our the latest prototype. We haven't launched our product yet, but very soon, probably at the end of this month. Another picture of it. It looks pretty to me. So this is what it looks like when in contact with liquid. The pellets, the small tofu pellet, will dissolve a bit, and they will stick together in clumps as a small ball or something. And the handling is very easy compared to conventional clay or soil-based cat litter. You can just scoop it up and then flush it into the toilet. And the more environmental friendly ways is to use this as a compost, just like what Shahara said, because soybean itself is a very nitrogen fixing material. It's a very good mulching material as well. Oh, maybe. So based on the latest government survey, there's approximately 170,000 household cats in Hong Kong. It's a big market for us. Altogether, they consume 12 to 15 tons of cat litter every day. And this is a simplified version of our operation. So after we collect the soya pulp, we have to dewater it. There's 2 steps of dewateration. One is to use mechanical press to press the water out. The other one is using heat to drive the leftover moisture out. And then we make it into a finer grains. We mix it with some other additive. After that, we use a palletizer to make it into a small pallet that you have just seen in previous slides. And then we do one more sterilization process with heat, make sure nothing's wrong before we do our packaging and send to our distributor. Right now, market channels, we kind of relied on pet supplies agent, so they're the distributor to Hong Kong physical pet supplies retailer. And also we're looking into ways to get into the online market because based on our study, 40% of the pet owner, they shop online. So the vision of our company is, what I'm meaning by upcycling economy in Hong Kong is that we have to use, we can't have a conventional linear production line in here. We generate a lot of pollution and waste, and the end product may not be good for the environment as well. So what I meant here by upcycling economy is that we can use the waste to make something useful and something marketable for the market. And also, as one of the members of the Hong Kong recycling sector, we want to build a profitable business model and also increase the overall recycling rates of Hong Kong. So this is some people recognize on your lab, this myself, and that's Max. We were in a cat competition earlier this year, and most of the participants are actually cat enthusiasts, so they have more than 3 or 4 cats in their households, and also there are some breeders, so they are very high volume user of cat litter, and we receive some very good feedback from them. And this is our very first promotional materials, and we are going to change it later this week. And this is a cat, one of the cats of, yeah, the cat is using our prototype, and he has been using it for over 6 months, and he enjoyed it very much. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to thank Kelvin for inviting me. It's an honor.
Great. Can we just have the normal slide? You don't need to do it, Pirry. Okay, we've got about an hour and 15 minutes, everyone. So really just opening up the questions on the floor. So think of your question. Before we do that, I'm going to shift this. So I'm like looking at you guys. Thanks for telling us about your product, what you do. But what I'm really interested in is what you were doing before this. Don't really need to tell, like, what was that shift towards, like, all right, I'm going to give up my old job. I'm going to get you to, you know, what did you do before, and what made you do this shift towards, like, I always see you in, like, rubber boots everywhere and, like, on a farm, and you sent me a WhatsApp the other day. It's like, oh, sorry, I was at camping today. And it's like, I'm pretty sure every day is kind of like camping to you. Yeah. That's part of your job.
It is. I do live in Wellington boots.
Yeah.
I was working in a financial software company before. So in the corporate world, I was actually in the corporate world for about 10 years. And I think a lot of people actually have this moment of looking ahead and thinking, do I want to do this for the next 10 years? And for me, it was just no. I just couldn't see myself.
What was that moment? Were you like on your 5th drink, or?
And I was probably just going up the escalator again in the same building, to the same office, to look at the same computer, and just thinking, this has to change. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was just not going to cut it for another 10 years. And so I had to make a change. And it wasn't, to be completely honest, I was not thinking farming. I have no background in farming. And I had no idea that I would fall in love with farming the way that I have. Particularly permaculture farming, which is very different to regular farming. Regular farming is actually quite boring. It's just very mechanical, very industrial, very money focused. We're profit driven, sorry. Whereas permaculture is a much more holistic kind of way of farming, and it's much more about self-reliance, really, like teaching yourself skills that you should have. Just how to grow some basic food, how to build some basic shelter, how to take care of your community, how to, not have all of your actions be profit-driven and be about money or being about what you can get, and a big part of it being about what you can share, and having care and responsibility part of what you want to do, on the way that you actually want to do things, and that just all felt very, very meaningful to me, and that's why, I started.
Thank you. Pirry, what were you doing before this?
Well,
do you have any cats, by the way?
Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay.
It's not a perfect answer, but I have to be honest with you guys. I was an environmental consultant, so my academic background was chemistry and environmental engineering. So it's kind of related to making cat litter, I would say, because I do have the academic knowledge to learn and understand how to make such a product. Before that, I was testing water, soil, going to landfills and tracing for contamination, stuff like that. It was a very robotic job, same as Shahara. So I don't see myself doing the same thing for 5 years. So I think I need a change, and then we have this very good opportunities, and I think it's a very may not be a very profitable business, but sustainable. So and I always tell myself that if I fail, then I can just go back to my old job. So why not give a start when I have these opportunities?
Great.
I'm not going back to my old job.
Okay, I try not to go back to my old job too.
Go back to a different job. Probably
Different job, maybe doing carbon audit.
Questions from the floor? All right, right up front. Do you want to just yell it out?
For me today, yeah. What are your biggest challenges in your ventures right now?
Biggest challenge in your venture?
So right now, as opposed to when we started?
Right now.
Just right
Like
now.
today. What do you need to do after this?
It's time. Well, it's because we're still relatively new. We don't have enough income right now for it to be. There's three of us to be supporting all three of us full time. So we all need like part-time jobs to help support this. So there is just never enough time, and it feels like you're in a little bit of a chasing your own tail. Like you need more time so you can get to the point where you're doing this full time, but then you have to work part-time to be able to do this at all. And so there's just never, the balance of money and time is the biggest challenge right now. Yeah.
Pirry?
One of my biggest problem is not having a stable income, just like what Shahara said. And I have to move back to my parents. That's another challenge. And in terms of operation, we want to scale up. We need capital for that. We do have some grants and funding, seed funding from schools or outside, but we need to have sales. We want sales in order to do that.
I think it's the same as any business, just finding enough money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on about, almost excluding profit. There's a lot of talk as if, being profitable or being social is not the same. It is. Your issues are actually identical to any other business.
It's not, when I say the profit-driven thing, it's not about not making any money. It's just, what I meant with that was, it's not only about money. So there is a point where we would say, and we want to say, we're making enough, and we're not going to chase any more. So it's not about going out and then opening another farm, then another farm, then another farm, which is what regular kind of capitalism is about. It's constant growth and just constantly chasing more and more and more and more. So that's what I meant by that. But you do need enough to be able to support yourself. Yeah.
Any other questions? I hope there is, because we just got started. Yep, over there.
I was really pleased to hear about your permaculture farm, because we have a similar one in Vermont.
Oh, wow.
And what we've done to help make it sustainable is both integrated some residential development with it. So there's people now that live there, and the people that live there help keep it going. And also we offer health vacations to people who want to come and stay and learn more about how to live in more harmony with the earth and all of that. And I just wondered if you're imagining that you would do any of that with your farm.
I think the kind of possibly obvious, but the biggest difference between Hong Kong and Vermont is space. There's no way we could ever offer anything residential. We just don't have the land. Even the land that we found was a real struggle. That was our biggest challenge in the beginning, was actually finding any land at all. And then we came across a charity who had a piece of land that they wanted someone to develop into a farm. So it was just kind of perfect. And but that kind of setup isn't really possible in Hong Kong. So our income streams need to be non-residential. So unfortunately, unless we find more land, yes, we would do something like that. Yeah. Thank you.
So I guess it's not another model of rent-seeking enterprise, I guess.
Rent-seeking?
So you have a farm, like the permaculture farm, but you have like a hotel or motel on the side, so it's like a real estate development.
No.
Oh, okay, great.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, so, yep, one in the back.
Pirry, I want to ask, what's your view on upcycling business in Hong Kong, and what is the greatest challenge in this kind of business in Hong Kong?
Thank you for your questions. I guess same as all other business, one of the biggest challenges is the space. The rents in Hong Kong is very expensive. We are very lucky enough to have someone to give us free rent for now. But if we have to scale up, if we want to have a warehouse to store our products, that will be a very big problem. Oh,
Technology, she said technology.
Well, there's no cat litter making machines, obviously, but the technology is not that complex. It's a very generic products, so I have the basic academic background to understand how to make it. So we already finalized our formulation for that. In terms of technology, maybe another challenge is we are using all food grades and try to use waste material to make our product. That could be a disadvantage compared to people who use a lot of chemical as preservative and stuff.
Okay, I've got a question. So I know you guys, we are supporting you guys as UnLtd with some small financial support, not much. And I think in Hong Kong, there's so many schemes, so many programs, so many incubation funds, so many accelerator funds. I know, Pirry, you said, sometimes Monday to Friday, every day after work at 7, I'm literally going to workshop after workshop after workshop. If there's something that, you know, there's such a buzz around these things, and I don't know how much you're kind of hooked into this stuff, Shahara. Like, what do you think in terms of the support you would be looking for more? There's enough of this, say, but what's not being met right now from the entrepreneur's view?
I think we are in a very different industry compared to other startups. I would say most of the startups in Hong Kong, they're tech-based, so they don't need a lot of space to develop their project. But for Shahara and me, I need at least 1,000 square foot of machinery footprint. So I need something, maybe 2,000 square foot to have a operation. I don't know if Hong Kong can offer this kind of like industrial, semi-industrial environment to us. Yeah.
So is the question in terms of what could UnLtd be doing more in terms?
Or whatever, people?
In a way, it would be nice to if, I mean, this is kind of the ideal world, but just there is, like you said, an incredible number of different kind of funding opportunities. Just to have that streamlined, so you just aren't wasting your time with the ones that are not going to fund you, no matter what. Kind of having the background done a little bit first for us, so that we're only applying for the ones that we know that we have a good chance to get. Because when you apply for funding, it's extremely time-consuming. It's filling out big applications and doing pitches and presentations, and every single one is just that little bit different. So you can't just do the same thing every time. And it does take up a huge chunk of time. And I'm not complaining. I'm very, very grateful for the money that we do get. But if there was one thing that I would, could wave my wand and get, it would just be like, okay, apply for these guys, there's a 70% chance, or apply for these guys, there's a 90% chance, as opposed to just, there's all these different groups that you can have a go at.
Yeah. And of course, including ourselves, we encourage as many people to apply because, that helps us. Like, oh, a lot of people are applying, but on your side, I do understand. Is that kind of like, look, if it's not going to work out, just tell me. Don't tell me to apply. Because it's not going to work, or there's a 50% chance or something like that. And, let's not play around because time is limited. Yeah. And I know some other entrepreneurs who, like, I think it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well. It was just back-to-back meetings on funding. And, it's like rolling the dice sometimes and going by the numbers. Mr. Danzo, who runs a very amazing organization in Ghana called Boomers Cycles, doing bamboo bikes. He has a question over there. He came from Ghana, just asked this question, so it better be good.
Okay, thank you. As you said, my name is Kwabena Danso. I run two companies. One is Boomers International, and then an NGO called the Yonso Project. My question is, as Kevin rightly said, there are a lot of incubators, there are a lot of funds available, and people are also kind of always have the opportunity to apply and apply and apply. But as entrepreneurs, how do we combine the time we invest in applying for these funds as also focusing on our businesses? In terms of that we don't spend so much time in investing in applying for funds whilst we live the core activities of our businesses. How do we combine that over here? Because for me, I don't have that in Ghana. I don't have the funds, a lot of funds in Ghana to apply for. So like, I'm all into my business. And even when I started applying for some of these funds, it got to a point I said, look, I'm tired. I think I need to focus on my business. But I want to know how you do it over here. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question because I had a conversation with Kevin about this not too long ago. We definitely need some money to kickstart our project because we need to buy machines and equipment and other stuff. I think it's very hard to reach that balance of spending the right amount of time of applying funds and grants, and also spending the right amount of time of actually running your business. I think running the business is more important, especially for me. I'm expecting to launch the product within a month. Right now, I'm still applying funds and grants, especially from the governments. But I think you can't have a business that sustains on grants and funds. So it's like taking a baby step. So I don't know if I answered the question.
I think, we work with about 14 entrepreneurs through UnLtd and many others at the Good Lab. And I would say the main thing is just focus on your business, see that momentum, have that momentum translate into media buzz and things like that, so you can feel, nobody wants to invest in a stagnant pool of water. If, it's just staying there, and you're using that same idea to pitch to this person. What we want to see as an investor, or, it's something that has a growing, it's got the movement. And what I really encourage, entrepreneurs to do is just keep going as far as you can with whatever you have, and then have other people's like, I want to get on that train. I see that vision and I want to be part of it because it's already moving. And what I see a lot of times, unfortunately, is a lot of people bringing their idea to a lot of different funders, and it's the same exact thing, and let's just place our bets on all these things. But it's that kind of I will do this if I get money for it. I will do this if I get money for it. If not, I'm gonna do my other job or something like that. And that's like a handout towards like, well, I'll do, what? That's not an entrepreneur. And what we want to see is that very nice balance of, I'm gonna do this anyways. Would you like to support me? I'm going this way. I have a vision. And that's that very small difference. And I think going back to GrowingSmart, we had a very long conversation over about 6 months, and we had a lot of chat. It's like, it was very hard to get that piece of land at Pengchao. That was probably half a year to 8 months of like banging your head against the wall just to get that small piece of land. And I'm like, maybe you should give up on this piece of land. Maybe you should go into the new territories and things like that. And after, like, no, we want this piece of land. And so we made a deal. We said, if you get this piece of land, we will give you the money. And they just kept going after the beat. And you saw their perseverance, and that's what you admire. You have the perseverance. It's like, we will go with you.
We have lots of land in Ghana. She should come to Ghana. But sharing a little piece on that. I was talking to a group of young entrepreneurs like myself recently. And it appears everybody was of the view that I don't have money to run the business, I don't have money, I don't have funding, so I'm not starting. And so one thing I told them is this: it doesn't take money. It doesn't take money to start a business. It takes, the first and foremost thing is commitment. If you have the commitment to start your business, the rest follows. So I asked this guy, okay, if I'm an investor, what have you to prove that if I give you this money, it's going to be translated into something profitable? Without having any proof from you, I've not seen your product, I've seen nothing, whether people like it or not. But sacrifice yourself, get the first product out, get somebody to buy it. Get a second person, after that person using it, get a second person. Maybe the person makes a recommendation. This person wants it. For instance, my personal story started like this. I was trained to do the bamboo bike. This is my bicycle frame.
He's a very good entrepreneur because he just goes everywhere with his bike and shows it.
With my product. And we were actually thinking, how do we get money to fund this? And then I realized nobody was interested in giving you money for anything. So what we did was, okay, we just paid the idea, oh, do you know a bicycle can be made out of bamboo? He said, how? He said, okay, if you want to try, just give us money. Just give us the money to produce for you. Just the first 2, we'll produce for you. And then you try it, and if it's okay, you tell us what to do. You tell us, you recommend us to other people. So we produced the first one. He bought it. He tried it. He bought another one for his wife. And then his friend said, okay, I need another one. So it started from there. And then all of a sudden, we said, okay, this thing can grow into a very beautiful business. So I withdrew all my savings. We got a website. And as soon as we launched the website, BBC was there to capture a story. And then as soon as the BBC did the story, CNN saw it. CNN also came to do a story. And then that got us going. So if I had decided that, oh, we don't have the money, so we're going to stop, I tell you, we wouldn't have been where we are today. But today we are distributing in Germany, Netherlands, Australia, Poland, Canada, all over, because there was a commitment from the beginning. So as young entrepreneurs, what I will urge is that we put in our commitment first. Let people see. Normally, investors don't only invest in the business, they invest in people. So you have to let them know who you are, how committed you yourself is, before they come in to support you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's absolutely right. And what we say is don't be an entrepreneur that says don't or always find an excuse. And we, as Hong Kong people, we always find excuses not to do things. But that's not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur sees every little opportunity and takes it.
I'd just like to, in a way, clarify exactly what you've said with a lot of businesses that I've also seen. And what you've kind of described is getting your first sale. Essentially, you did that without any money. You just got your first sale. So you proved your concept, forgot everything else, and you proved your concept first. And then you built on that. And I find too many people getting caught up on the stuff around it without ever having, a single clear way to make money or to get that first sale, or even thinking about the first sale. They're always thinking about, oh, I need a really nice logo, or I need a really nice website, or I need this, or I need that. And don't focus on just getting that first sale, whatever you're selling. So for us, it's, it's camps and whatever. But, that's what we did. Regardless of how much, UnLtd has supported us, but that's pretty much it. But we've just gone out and gone and pitched to schools, and we're now gaining traction, and we're in schools all the time now. And I'm sure, next season, I'm pretty confident we're going to be back to back with school groups. Thank you. But that is the most important thing. Is ultimately it is a business, and to be you can't rely on funding and all of those things, even though they help. The most important thing is to get that first sale, whatever that is.
And I think, in terms of funding, it's a blessing and a curse. And a lot of people's like, I need this, and let's business registration. And at UnLtd, we're a bit maverick in the things. It's like, well, don't spend your time getting this and that and rent and this. If you're going to do a workshop, just hold it at your house or in a park with your friends. Try it out. Vincent does a coconut water company. Just try it out with a kitchen blender. Just try it in the smallest possible way. Yeah. And then plant that seed instead of finding out a million different things you have to do before planting that seed. Because actually that's the thing that takes the longest time, not the logo and all that other stuff. Other questions from the floor? Yes, lady from over there. Put your hand up so they can see the mic.
Hello. I'd like to ask if you have someone that you considered to be a mentor figure, and then I guess the second question is if you could just, if there's one thing that you wish you knew before getting into social enterprise, what would it be?
Can you repeat the second question?
If there's one thing that you wish you knew before getting into this whole social enterprise venture, what would it be?
Okay, I answer your first question. We do have some very good mentors. One of the mentors I would like to mention about is she has great experience in marketing, and she works for a cat supplies company. So it can't be any mentor better than that. Thank you, Kelvin, because Woodlab actually line up between us. So I think right now we have a very good mentor on the marketing side, because my experience is more scientific and operations. And for your second question is that I don't really know how to answer specifically for social enterprise, because I think for all the enterprise venture is the same. I realize everything's will be delayed and everything takes 3 times more than what I planned it before. So you have to expect that to happen, and you have to find ways to deal with it. Sometimes I couldn't do anything, and I have to just to be patient and maybe find other resources and stuff like that.
I've forgotten the question now.
Mentor, and then what did you wish you knew?
We haven't actually specifically had mentors for this, for what we're doing. But for me personally, I tried to set up and run a business before, and I broke all the branches on the way down. So I knew what not to do on this one. So the first time that I did it, I made all the classic mistakes of focusing on, oh, is my logo good enough? And the best website I could possibly pay for, and just all of the things except focusing on what I was actually trying to do. And so this time, that wasn't going to happen again, and I was just very clear on what I was trying to do, what I was trying to achieve, and all the rest was just as it happened and would come second. So that was a really great teacher in a way, just having tried before and failed. In terms of like what to do, what not to do, in a way, it's ignorance is bliss, because everything does take a lot longer and is more difficult than you originally anticipate. I didn't expect for it to take so long to find a piece of land, and if I had known that's how long it would take, I might not even have started. So in a way, you kind of don't want to know too much about it, but it seems like every business is the same and everything just takes longer, and not to give up because of that. Just continue to believe in it and don't give up, because that's normal.
All right. What about the rest of the audience? I think the energy level is a bit down. So let's ask some like risky questions. Stephen, do you have a risky question for these people? He's a pastor, so he could just yell it out maybe.
I'm a social entrepreneur for more than 10 years. Okay, selling a lot of social enterprise. I want to ask you, some of the young people like you, will you die for your dream? When you get a dream,
that's risky enough. All right, that's risky enough. All right.
You want to do something that is to prove your dreams, or want to benefit of the people. Sometimes we spend so much time to realize our dreams, but actually not touching the people we are serving. And you start the dream from the supply end or the demand end. Okay.
So one is, would you die for your dream? And the other one is, you started from the supply end and not the demand end.
Yeah.
Well,
would you die for kitty litter? Would you die for your cats?
To be very honest, no. I won't die for my dreams. I mean, I won't.
You will not die for cat first.
I will not die for any business, to be honest, because I know once I'm dead, I don't know what's going to happen. But I mean, if the business is not doing well, then I will pivot it into something else, or maybe get another job, something like that. I mean, I won't die for it. Literally die for it is not making sense for me.
No, I also don't think it's necessary to die for permaculture. But it was important to me that it felt meaningful. Like whatever I was going to do next, it really had to resonate with something a little more than just survival or making money or whatever. There had to be a little bit of a sense of purpose to it. And so that's why I chose this particular path, because it feels much deeper than what I was doing before, and it feels meaningful and it feels important. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but that's how it feels to me. Yeah.
You think about this when you have a dream or idea. You start from the supply or start from the demand side? Customer side or the producer side?
Well, my business actually starts from the supply side because the reason why we call Woodlab is because and the initial idea was use wood to make cat litter, or wood to make some biofuel pellets. But the thing is, the machineries deal with woods are more heavy, and like heavy machines, and also it takes more capital to build the infrastructure. And it's very fortunate that the food waste treatment company, they have the machines to deal with food waste, and we leverage that. Yeah. So it's a supply side, but it's very fortunate that we also able to produce a product that is from our understanding is in demand. And we try other products. We try to develop other products. Most of the other products fail. We haven't launched it is because we didn't focus enough on the demand side. So there's some lesson for us to learn as well.
For us, like, we knew that there was a demand for what we were doing, but at the same time, for the three of us, the three partners in GrowingSmart, we all actually genuinely love what we're doing. So it was both. It was a marriage of the two sides coming together. So we're really happy to be doing what we're doing. We want to be doing what we're doing, and thankfully there is also a demand for what we're doing. But we would not have started if we didn't know the demand was there. It would have remained something which was probably on the side. But because we knew from our own personal experiences that there was a demand for this kind of education, it just allowed us to put the two together. Yeah. Thank you.
Question in the back there.
Hi, I have a question for Pirry.
Yes.
I have more than 10 cats at home.
You can have my business card.
Not because I'm crazy, but because I'm an animal volunteer.
Okay.
I rescue, foster, and rehome cats and dogs. So, do you want to work with a charity to keep your products known? Because I just checked out your website. There's one link that says share love. Are you really sharing this concept of love?
Well, we try to contact SPCA, and the bureaucracy in the system makes me think that maybe I should not pursue collaboration with them at this stage. But we are looking at another cat shelter. You may have seen that on our Facebook. We like the link, so we will contact them. So once we hit a certain scale, when we are stable in terms of quality, we will definitely do that. We have been contacted by some others, cat or animal shelter as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying I would love to collaborate with you guys
Yeah,
if you're interested.
yes, us would like as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on this question of, I'm going to use this question of partnerships. And of course, to grow, we need investors, we need supporters, people to get land from, a factory or a company to get free rent from. Sometimes we pursue some hopes, thinking that it's going to yield opportunity, but actually it just turns into really bad stuff that you've invested a lot of time with, and then just actually you realize that you actually have neglected some really important stuff while pursuing that one hope that this was going to make everything okay. I've certainly been down that road before. What in your experience, how do you know a partnership is going to go well and that it's worth investing time with? And I'm sure you've had some ups and downs in partnerships, and or when do you give up and say, actually no, this is not worth it, or actually there's not a right or wrong answer, but just some comments or observations for the audience.
I have to say, there's no way to know. You just find out. Well, we just found out after we started the partnership or the relationship with somebody, and then if it's not working out, you just let it go. You just, you don't try and fight to. Well, I personally have not tried to fight to try and keep it or anything like that. I think I'm very good at realizing when something just needs to be let go, and that's what you do. But don't think there's any way to know before you start about how a certain relationship is going to go. Or if you do have that kind of gut instinct, then you don't start at all. But if you don't have that kind of, if you're kind of happy with how things feel at the beginning, you have to go for it.
So it's kind of like a first date kind of thing.
It's just like a first date. Yeah, it is. It's a relationship, and definitely follow your gut instinct. If there's anything that feels slightly uncomfortable or you're not so sure about, just don't go there. There's plenty of good stuff to get into, and it may or may not work out, but there's more chance that it will if you kind of stay true to yourself and your feelings. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's a very good analogy, first date, and because, well, for startup, we don't have a lot of time to waste. So if we don't see a workable partnership, then we should just very directly cut off that collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Dan.
I think I have a quick one to that question. I think it's about how do we even initiate the partnership in the first place? As startups, we don't know the intention of the person coming in asking for the partnership. Sometimes they are your competitors and they just want information just to kill you out. And so the first and foremost thing is, do we have a non-disclosure agreement which we can sign with these people after sharing our information with them? Because it's not just about they coming in, they see whatever they want to see, and then they start behaving in a way, and then we just leave them to go. Then they go with your information. So I think the first and foremost, the first thing is, we need to have an MOU. In whatever partnership we want to go into, you need to have an MOU. Set out the guidelines clearly. What you are in there to do, what I'm in there to do, what you're offering, what I'm offering in this partnership. If we get to a point and realize it's not going to work, we look at, okay, but still we are being guided by a certain principle, even after we break up. So that it doesn't be like you've just worked your way out and then somebody is just taking whatever you sweated for, just for something, because he wanted that, he just come in and then take it and go. Yeah.
Can I just say, that's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, if you can clarify, if you somebody once sent to me ink on paper, and that's actually, I forgot to mention that, always have ink on paper with people that you're dealing with in any kind of business level, because it's the only thing to get yourself out of things that you no longer want to be part of. And, yeah.
I would like to respond to that as well, because not Woodlab, but our key partners, HKOWLC, the Food Waste Treatment Center, it happens before that. So several people want to invest in their company, and then they look into your books and stuff, and they didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement, and they kind of exposed themselves to their competitor, and it happens that somebody just set up at another location. So this is a very good advice.
But in permaculture, we don't worry about competition. So we do actually try to support each other. This is the difference with, like, I suppose, a normal commercial world. Like, we do definitely think that there is, because it kind of goes back to everything that you've said, unless you genuinely believe in what you're doing and unless you have the commitment, you're not going to make it successful. So you don't have to worry about competition, because most of them are not in it for the same reasons as you, and therefore they're not going to make it successful like you. So I think people worry a little bit too much about the competition, people stealing their ideas and all of that sort of thing. it's almost likely never going to happen. And if somebody is successful, if you're doing what you're doing authentically, it won't hurt you. So I personally don't, I quite like, it's hard to go from coming from the corporate world to going to the permaculture world. It's a bit of a journey, because the permaculture world is a lot more kind of faith-based, and not faith, but like having faith in humanity and all this kind of stuff. And the corporate world is very much you don't trust anyone and da-da-da-da. So, you know, to go from that to that is a journey. But I quite like the journey of going towards a place where you're supporting each other, even if you're in the same business, and helping each other and not worrying so much about, you know, taking all of the market share or whatever it is.
Yeah, I get your point. It's interesting, and it's always good when we all agree that we are supporting each other. But as I said, you don't know the ideology behind. I've experienced this before. Somebody came to me, we want to have a collaboration. Oh, I want to sell your product. And by the time I realized, she's out there claiming she's making bamboo bikes and branding us very badly, as we are doing nothing. And until we came up, people saw that it's recently that people saw that no, these people are not the ones doing it, it's the other group. And then people started coming to us. So it depends on, and as I said, if I knew that this was the ideology, and since then I've learned a lesson. Somebody can just even come, I want to buy your product. As a normal customer, you don't know where the person is coming from. He'll buy, go dismantle your whole thing, and then look at the secret behind your product. And then start. So I'm not saying it's good when we collaborate. And in collaboration, I understand that we support each other with where I am not good, you are good there. So we complement each other. But not when I think that I'm good in doing this and you're also doing the same thing, then there becomes a competition. Whether we like it or not, because I'm trying to sell the same product, you're also trying to sell the same product. How do we collaborate? We can't. At that point, we have become competitors. And at that point, we are competing. So we need to look at how do we insulate ourselves from some of these shocks, instead of just opening, because in the name of collaboration, somebody will just take advantage of you. That's where my concern is.
Sure, yeah. I would just say, please go ahead.
I'd like to add to that. Fully understand what you're saying. There's also something about category and being visible. So I launched the first raw coconut water in London. 6 months ago, we got 4 competitors. Our sales skyrocketed. I guarantee you, our visibility was so much bigger. Best thing that happened. Yeah. So competition is good in that sense as well.
Yeah, I would like to say that I also understand what they are talking about, but now that we're in the Social Enterprise Summit and we're talking about social enterprises, mission-driven organization, if both of us are looking to solve a problem, so even though we are like selling the same product or a different product, but we are aiming to solve the problem, so it might look that we are competitors, but we are actually like, we could be collaborators to solve the problem, right? Because if we both do great, we're gonna solve it. That's the deal. The deal is not sell things, it's solving the problem and making impact. So I think we are moving, but what you were saying about competition and like the corporate world to like collaborative and social entrepreneurship and everything. Thank you.
I understand that if we have more competitor doing the same thing that I'm doing, we scale up the problem solver on that side. I understand that it's solving a bigger problem. But well, at this point, I just don't want to give a head start to my potential competitor. And also, I'm kind of on survival mode right now, so I have to protect my interest and my partner interest. So I hope to understand that. I mean, I understand the importance of competency. If we can compete with other people, then we should not be able to stand in the market. I understand that.
Other questions from them, or do you have a comment?
No, I was just going to say, I think, this is a little bit of just my personal point of view, but I would say test it, like test being open with the competitors, because we're so brainwashed into seeing competitors as bad. But test it for yourself and see if it actually is bad, because it might not be bad, and it might actually be, we're kind of in a fear-based culture, and we feel very insecure, we feel very protective, and I wonder how much of that is just not reality, and that if we were actually helping and supporting each other, that we would actually find that that works better. But we're in such a fear-based culture, we think the opposite, but
I think it's like a mentality in which you live, and I think you did the things you do because you did not like the culture that you were in before. And I had a great mentor. Her name was Lily, and she said, always just keep giving, and then you'll get back in spades. 2 years from now, 8 years from now, and me and Vincent was a very great supporter when his coconut water company was just starting out, and we've kept in touch and things like that, and it just keeps giving, and you never know when those things kind of come back to you, because you're planting seeds. You're always planting seeds, and I think that's the way to do it. And I think how I would do it is like plant seeds with a couple people, but the thing is, if they just keep taking your seeds and not giving anything back, you kind of know where their values lie. So I'm very much more careful. Before I just gave seeds, I'm like, all right, just give it away and like just plant it wherever. But right now, I've got 24 hours in my day. I'm much more tactical with my seeds. But it's like, look, if I give you 3 seeds and you hear that person just keeps taking from everybody else, they're usually planning to do something, and their reputation then goes down because they're a taker, they're not a giver. And to use that very simple thing, make sure you're a giver, because then you're actually creating something. Whereas if you're just keep taking, it's not going to help you in the long run, because especially here in Hong Kong, people do talk about how helpful of a person you are and how great of a person you are. So I think the more you give back, even though if you're small, it doesn't have to be giving your secret formula for cat litter, but just,
Give it to a cat shelter.
Yeah.
And give my product to a cat shelter, something like that.
Yeah.
I hope the lady is still around.
And you never know, it's one of these things. You give it to a cat shelter, and I've literally seen things like that happen. You give it to a cat shelter, not the kitty litter one, but then a philanthropist goes into, who's a very big cat person, walks into the shelter, and it's like, what's this special cat litter you're using? Because, all cat people are experts in cat litter because it's part of the daily life of a cat. And then they start talking, and then it comes back, and then, all of these things. You never know what the universe has for you. And I think, but the universe will know one thing, if you're a giver and a taker, and what's the kind of, I don't know who said it yesterday, but are you a net, are you increasing the value or increasing the betterment of society throughout your lifetime? Or are you just in it for your kind of self? I'm going to ask one question. Let's see what time we have. We've got about 20 minutes left. This is getting on a little bit more, but I think you both started this with maybe a discontent, spiritually, emotionally, of where your before job was leading you. Do you think that void has been filled with what you're doing now?
Well, I can say I'm happier. I found a meaning of working. I can say that, but
Meaning of working, but not meaning of life yet.
Meaning of life is another question. So.
Okay.
I'm definitely, I'm on the right path. I have no doubt about it. I've got quite a lot of tunnel vision on this. It resonates on every level, and it's absolutely where I want to be right now. Yeah.
Vincent.
I would say for me, a giant void was filled. I would definitely do it again. There are new voids though.
Sorry, what was the last one?
They're new voids. So your life becomes bigger, your heart becomes bigger, but you can make it actually. You will actually do this rather than you're stuck and you're always afraid of voids. You're actually looking at a void now and thinking, beautiful, I'm going to take care of that.
Yeah.
Raise your hand in the audience if you think you're an entrepreneur or have an entrepreneurial attitude. All right, these are regular people. I usually see their hands up. All right, and then the other people don't want to vote or show their... Did you think you were an entrepreneur before?
I can't say yes
or do you
no.
even see yourself as an entrepreneur now?
I actually always thought that I would stay in the corporate world and have a career within the corporate world. I didn't actually think I would want to not be in the corporate world anymore, so that kind of surprised me, I guess. It was just like, I'm very unhappy, I need to do something else. And then I started to look at options. And then I gave myself the entrepreneur, and then I failed miserably. Because I think I've said a few times, I just fell into the trap of all the wrong things. And now I would not give myself any labels. I'm just doing what I want to do. So, yeah.
The first idea of entrepreneur was, I was 10. At that time, I wanted to have my own ice cream shops, because for the very obvious reason of the unlimited supplies of ice cream, and I still want to have one for the very same reason. But am I an entrepreneur? When I start this company, maybe I'm not fully entrepreneur. When I graduated from college, I just want a stable jobs, maybe same as most of other people. But I see this opportunity, and then throughout this 9 months, I'm trying to be entrepreneur. I'm learning the skills that how to be an entrepreneur. I don't think I have that instinct I born with. I'm not born to be entrepreneur, but I'm learning to be one.
Okay, so we've got like 5 entrepreneurs that quickly raise their hands. So those are the people that I'm not, I don't need to convince. I also know about 4 of them. So like, you see everybody in the audience. I mean, what is the key message you want them to take away? And I want you guys to not just stand there and listen. What do you want to take away from this? Do you want some inspirational comment from them and say, I want to change my career like you, Pirry? Like, all right.
I'm sorry, I have a question. That's how would you define your job or your products is success or not? There is some final goal or so-called a dream before you start it. May you tell me how would you define it? Is success or not?
If my business make money, then I would think it's definitely a success.
That's level 1.
At least a financial success. And if we can develop more products with waste, then that's another level of success. If my company Woodlab can operate without me, then that's another level of success. If I die, my company can still operate it as it is and keep developing great products, then that's my ultimate success.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually very fair. I mean, the first level of success is being able to support yourself financially. And so that's kind of your first indicator. Okay, so I am actually doing something right, something's working, people want what I'm doing, and that kind of thing. The second level of success would be seeing people who've come through us carry on and do parts of what we've taught them, and kind of spread the message, and to see like farms opening up or people acting in more sustainable ways, or setting up businesses which are kind of eco or whatever, that have done that through being with us, would be a really great measure of success.
I'm going to tell a little story. Most people, by my accent, think there is a point to this, everyone. Everybody who hears my accent thinks I'm American, but I am actually born here and raised in Canada, so I am actually Canadian. And I have to explain to people, I'm Canadian, Chinese, not American. What is the question you just when people, typically every time you come to a conference like this or something, people ask you this question and you have to take a deep breath and you got to smile and say, this is who I am, or this is, you have to explain something. What is that question? You're like, oh, I don't believe I have to do this again.
That's not fair.
Maybe,
I
do you have cats? Is that the first question? No.
Yes, that's a very embarrassing questions. But the other question I got is saying that our cat litter, even though made with reclaimed materials, but at the end is waste. Of course, you can use it as compost, it's compost safe, but I'm sure not many people in Hong Kong, they enjoy farming as Shahara. So people would just flush it in the toilet, or some people just ship it back to landfills. So how should I deal with that? I don't think it's. I think it's a fair question, to be honest, because we are not minimizing we are not preventing the waste ultimately, but we're trying to do our best, because these soil pumps have no value in Hong Kong because of lack of activities. Not many people are farming in Hong Kong, so these are actually very valuable material in China. They're selling for 1,600 RMB in China, but in Hong Kong, they pay people maybe a couple $100 to ship them away. So we are taking this opportunity to divert the waste from landfill and also make a living for ourselves. I hope people can understand that we are actually minimizing people importing cat litter, importing foreign product, which they also generating greenhouse gases. We try to promote a circular economy.
Where is the furthest place cat litter comes from for Hong Kong?
I think I need Google Map to answer your question, but the most foreign places will be Germany and the States.
German cat litter.
German cat litter. It's a good product. It's a good product.
I guess the biggest question we always get, well, the most common question is, what is permaculture? So, I mean, it's GrowingSmart, passionate about permaculture. Nobody ever knows what permaculture is, so I do have to explain every single time what permaculture is, but I'm happy to do that, so it's absolutely fine. Yeah.
I think we've got time for one or two more questions. Any burning questions there from the lady over there?
Thank you. My question is more to a commercial side, which is more to a product side, probably like the bicycle, the bomber, coconut water, and the cat litter. So the question is, what if your product, after launch it, and your technology is rapidly being copied by some other company, and then even if you apply for patent, and from our great China, they can copy everything. So you can't really stop them from everything, right? So if this happened, what will you do? Will you still continue your dream, or will you just give up, or what will you do? Yeah, thanks.
I want an answer from Vincent as well. And Mr. Danzo. But let's get these people.
Okay. This is the reason why I did not apply for patent. Because I think it's a generic product anyways. If people have the skills and they have the machines, there's nothing wrong for them to make the same thing that I'm making in Hong Kong. I'm not opposed to that. The very unique part of our business is that we are able to do it efficiently and also in a relatively small scale. Because if you look at, I didn't actually give you a picture of how we dry the okara, but the machine we use is actually 18 meters long and 3 meter high. So it's not very common machines you're going to see in Hong Kong. It has to be done in some very rural area, like a suburb China and stuff like that. But right now we have the technology advance, and we know the ways how to keep things very lean to make our product.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at something else. I think one of the key things is innovation. As more and more competitors, for competitors you always have, for people coming in you always have, because some time ago, when you come to Ghana, bottled water was just one company or two companies. Now, almost every corner of the city, even in villages, people are making bottled waters and sachet waters. So you need to think about it. How do I innovate? How do I always beat the system? And that is why you should always keep an eye on what other people are doing. So once you know what other people are doing, you're able to come up with something that gives you more feature than what the others. So it gives you should always think about the customer as giving the customer more benefits than what your competitors are giving to the customer. So once you're able to come up with such an innovation, always innovate on your product, it's difficult for them to keep up. So for the competition, they will always come, but you should always look at how do I innovate to keep up to beat the competition.
And I think that's the comfort level. You always stop being a follower. Don't see yourself as a follower. See yourself as a thought leader. So once they caught up, you keep going. And I think that's very true of every entrepreneur and their business. It can't stay stagnant. And what we see is sometimes is when you stay stagnant, you get not taken over, but other people, and that's the natural life of things. Vincent, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, in my case, I'm trying to say we need the competition. We need the visibility. In the beginning, we were pushing, by ourselves and pushing. Now suddenly 5 people are pushing. So suddenly, market becomes much bigger. I'm even pushing as hard as I used to. But the sales have gone much higher. So I think actually we need it. I can't wait till someone in China will try copy us and see how hard they can push. They can push a lot harder than I can probably. Yeah. Plus I think I really need them as well. Not just market visibility. The equipment is really expensive. When there are more players, you get bigger scale. So the equipment becomes cheaper, also for us. So I really need low-cost Chinese equipment. Can't wait. Can't wait till they come.
It's also about how to differentiate your business with your competitor. So I actually didn't use the word social enterprise during my presentation because I don't think the social value should be the reason why our consumer purchase our product. One of our features is that we use food grade material, so they are safe. Even if your cat eats the cat litter, it will be safe. Even our packaging is food grade. So I think that's kind of unique and separate us with the rest.
Okay, I think we have, we're just going to do final comments here because I think we're running out of time. So do you have any final comments? I'll give you like a minute to think of the final comment, but thank you everyone for coming. And I think, what I really wanted to get at today was just not the big scale ideas, but really on the ground. What are the day-to-day challenges? And you read books, you read theory, you hear about things on websites, but on the ground, it's a struggle every day. And I think we've got 2 great stories, and of course we've got Mr. Danzo there as well, and my friend Vincent there. So coconut water, bamboo bicycles, do pick their brain afterwards. Don't let them go because they have a wealth of knowledge. So before we leave, any final thoughts from our panelists? Any inspirational words to the audience here?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I just think stay true, stay authentic, and just, really, if you have the opportunity, follow whatever you're going to do, just realize that you're going to have to do it day in, day out for a very long time. So make sure it's something that you actually really want to do and that means something to you, because this doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work and commitment. So make sure if you're going to start something, that's what you're going to, in your head, think this is what I'm going to do for the next 5 to 10 years and be sure that that's what you want to do.
Pirry?
I would like to have all the audience to like my Facebook page. So it's Woodlab HK. So I have to do some promotion here, and also for people who have some ideas in their mind. For me, I'm very lucky because if I don't have the support that I have right now, I wouldn't be able to start it. But if you have an idea that you truly believe in, you have to share with other people. You have to talk more about it. You have to go to places like Woodlab to do a pitching and see the feedback from others, and to meet your potential partners and stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We're going to present some gifts to our lovely panelists, and before we do that, I have been reminded by the committee to please fill out your the feedback forms. If this sucked, did not suck, so on. So just write your stuff down here. But I'd just like everybody to give a round of applause to these guys over here. We're going to pose for the camera here. This is a great book by an organization called GIFT, and it is highlights 100 other amazing people in the world. So you hear Fortune 500 and this and that. This is the other 100 people in the world that are doing amazing things in their communities that aren't recognized. So, you know, Vincent, Mr. Danzo, you guys, I think you guys should be in the next one of these. You should be in the next edition of this later on. Where are we going? This way. Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, one more. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference. There you go.